evening to one and all watching this class today. So, today we are going to speak about, rather discuss about genetics part 5. So, what are we going to discuss about this class is that we will first of all go towards the founder of genetics about Mendel, Gregor Mendel, and then we will slowly move towards his entire history and what experiments did Mendel had performed and what were the results and everything. We will study this in this class. So let's begin. So so Gregor Mendel is also known as father of genetics. So he basically studied about the heredity, and because of his study, because of the experiments which Mendel had carried on, uh, he was the first person who started the studies in the heredity and all genetics. So he is the father of genetics. So Mendel was born in Moravia, okay, in 1822 year, and he died at the year of 1884. So he was a son of a farmer, and he was a biologist, meteorologist, mathematician also. So he used to study these three fields. And yes, he was a founder of genetics because he was the first person to carry out the experiment to understand heredity, what is actually inheritance. He spoke about his laws of inheritance, and hence he named it as Mendelian inheritance. He studied about heredity, and he gave the rules of heredity. So the experiment was done on garden pea. Garden pea scientific name is Pisum sativum, and this experiment was carried from 1856 to 1863. So in this period of time, Mendel studied the pea plant, that also garden pea plant specifically, and he gave his laws. He observed many things, but he observed and all everything it was done. He published his paper also about what all, like, actually Mendel had linked biology with mathematics. So the time when Mendel had published his papers, so during that time his work was not recognized. Okay, so his work was unrecognized. Nobody understood what Mendel was about to what he was actually explaining, what he was trying to convey. But after some years, there were three different scientists, and these three scientists were working independently. The three scientists' names are Tesmark, Hugo de Veris, and Carl Correns, you can say. These three scientists were working separately in their research work. Then they came into, they saw that what was Mendelism, what were the laws given by Mendel and all. They understood, and they separately, they were studying separately, and they came together and proposed this law. Like, we can say that they rediscovered, rather we can say that they rediscovered the Mendel's work in the year 1900. Okay, so this discovery they rediscovered in the year 1900. Since so then they understood that what actually Mendel had given, it was very very, it was very very important in the field of biology, and this was entirely given a different field named as genetics, and hence Mendel, from that time, it was recognized as father of genetics. But when Mendel was alive, he didn't got this recognition. Mendel didn't got recognition till 1884, after years and years of these people who were researching, these three people, and at the year on like this 1900, Mendel got recognition as father of genetics. So this is a very important point, that at which year he got the recognition and in which year he had performed the experiment, that is 1856 to 1863. Okay, so these are the three scientists who rediscovered the work of Mendel. There is Tesmark, then you have Hugo de Veris, and then there is Carl Correns. If you want to read about these people, you can surely Google out and you can read more about them, that what kind of background they were having, what they were actually studying, what were the research articles which they had published, and everything. You can go through it. So before coming to pre-plant, I will speak about one topic, okay, that what actually Mendel had seen. So when Mendel was he was studying about the this like heredity. So but what is exactly heredity, like what is inheritance? Okay, heredity and inheritance are same thing. So heredity is something like, we can say that our parents, okay, our parents transmit the, all the characters, features of an organism are transmitted in the form of genetic information from the parents to the offspring. Okay, from the parents to the offspring. So this is getting transmitted. Okay, this is getting transmitted. But how this is getting transmitted? In the form of genetic information. In the form of genetic information. Okay, so Mendel didn't told that he didn't told that genetic information is there or something. He, at that time there was no clue about what is genetic gene, what is genetic information, what is DNA. There was no such discovery during that time. Only Mendel just now, what Mendel told, that he didn't told this part. This part was not told by Mendel, that it is genetic information. He told that something is there which is carried, which is acting as a carrier. Okay, there is something, okay, which is acting as a carrier, and this carrier is present in germ cell. Okay, this is present in germ cell, you can say gametic cell. Okay, but this carrier is like, it is taking something. Okay, now what it is taking, he was not understanding. Okay, he didn't told anything, he just told that it is, some things are getting carried by this carrier. This something he termed as factor. Now we know that he was a good mathematician, as we studied here. You can see this, mathematician and also a biologist. Okay, obviously we had so many time heard in mathematics, if there is, we don't know something that unknown, so we say it as x. So here Mendel, instead of saying it as x, he told it as factor. So Mendel termed it as factor, that there is something which is carried from the parents to the offspring, and that something which is carried is known as factor. Okay, so that is known as a factor. But in today's time, the factors are known as, like, later the discovery was done, everything was done, and these factors were known as, like, now it is known as genes. And this word genes is given by, you can say, coined by Johansson. Okay, so this word is given by Johansson. Okay, so this till here, like, it is just like parents is transmitting some genetic information, that is genes. Okay, the word was given by Johansson. So this transfer of the genetic information from the parents to the offspring, this is known as heredity, or we can say inheritance. What we can say, the another word for heredity, we can also say it as inheritance. Now what is inheritance? The word inheritance means, so this word inheritance means to receive something, to receive, rather you can say to receive. Okay, so since the information is carried over from the parents to the offspring, so this is carried by the genes. At that time Mendel didn't told that it was carried by the genes. Mendel just told that this is carried by the factors, and later it was discovered that okay, these factors are nothing but the genes. Okay, so till here it was okay. Mendel explained about inheritance and heredity. So this field got like like this entire thing which Mendel explained in, like, he experimented everything, he explained about heredity. So this was termed as genetics. Okay, so this entire field we say it as genetics, and this genetics term was coined by a scientist known as Batson. Okay, genetics word was coined by Batson. Okay, so now on what was the work like which Mendel had actually done. So Mendel worked on this garden pea plant. So let's speak about that, why Mendel was like, why he took this plant only. Okay, this is garden pea plant. Okay, garden pea plant. The scientific name of garden pea plant is Pisum sativum. So why he used this only? So the reasons are, like, the first reason is that it had contrasting characters. Okay, it had contrasting characters. Now contrasting characters are like the way we say that there should be some contrasting color, like light yellow and dark blue or something, two contrasting color. In the same way, in this also, in the pea plant, there were contrasting characters. Like suppose if there was tall plant, so for the tall plant there was a dwarf plant as a contrast character. Okay, so for this tallness there was dwarf. Tall plant has a dwarf character, contrasting character. If there was round seed shape, then there was a wrinkled seed shape also, so again contrasting character. And these character were such that you can see it. Okay, so the characters were visible. Okay, characters were visible, as you can say morphologically they were visible in the sense what, morphologically. And even this plant was bisexual plant. Now what is bisexual means? Only one flower which has both male and female. Okay, the only one flower which has both female reproductive part and also male reproductive part. If both the parts, like if the flower has both female and the male reproductive part, then we say it as bisexual, like we can say bisexual plant, bisexual flower, others you can say bisexual flowers. So this plants, the pea plant was having bisexual flowers, so like male and female both were there, so selfing was very easy. Okay, self reproduction was very easy, self pollination rather, so you can say self pollination. And even the cross pollination was easy in this by artificial method. Okay, so cross pollination was easy. How it was easy? This was easy, but how? It was easy because of artificial method. Okay, then okay, these were the basic thing. And the last thing, that why this was a good, good plant to be used in the experiment, good, you can say that, good like good experimental thing. So it was giving the, like its life cycle was annual. So this was an annual plant, means in 1 year it will get matured and you will get the results like flowers and all, everything. So it was very easy to grow this kind of plant, and even breed, it was easy to be bred, like the breeding was very easy of this plant. So this was the reason why this plant was taken. Now if you can see that here are the contrasting characters. So the dominant means dominant form and recessive form. I had taught what is dominant and what is recessive. So dominant is something which is like, which can be expressed even when there is a presence of some other allele. Okay, if there is suppose capital T. Okay, so for tallness we represent it as capital T. Okay, I had discussed about this in the last lecture. So for tallness, this is the genotype, and if we want to say this way, heterozygous. So capital T is the allele which is expressing in both the like condition, even it is expressing when it is present with a recessive allele, means it is suppressing the effect of the other allele and it is expressing itself. So this is something known as dominant, and the recessive form is only expressed when it is in homozygous condition. Okay, so this is the dominant form and this is the recessive form. You can see that there is flower color. Okay, then you have seed color, seed shape, pod shape, and you have pod color, you have flower position, and the plant, height of a plant. So these are the 7 characters. So Mendel chose 7 contrasting characters for studying pea plant. 7 contrasting characters. So if you can see here, there are 7 contrasting characters. What is its dominant and the recessive form is given here in this table. So stem height, it has tall and dwarf 2 characters, contrasting characters. Same way you have for flower color, like flower position, pod shape, and all. So there are 7 genes, you can say. If we are saying 7 characters, means 7 different genes. And the number of chromosomes which are there in a garden pea plant is 14 chromosome. Okay, which this is a Pisum sativum. This plant is known as Pisum sativum. Okay, and it has 14 chromosomes. How many chromosomes are present? It has 14 chromosomes. So here we are speaking about like 14 chromosomes means 7 pairs of chromosome. So we have taken this 7 chromosomes here. If you can see, on the first chromosome there are 2 characters, and on the 4th chromosome there is again 2 characters, and on the 5th chromosome there is 1 character, and on the 7th chromosome there is 1 character. So in this way, in 4 chromosome there are presence of total 7 characters. Okay, in 4, what I told that in 4 chromosomes there is a presence of total 7 characters. So if there are 4 chromosomes, so there is a presence of 7 characters. Okay, so this is about the pea plant which we have to study for today. So we spoke about Mendel, who is the father of genetics. Then we spoke about the details of Mendel, and then who rediscovered the work of Mendel, and then we discover about the heredity and inheritance, and we spoke about the pea plant. So for today's lecture I will stop here, and in the upcoming lecture we will speak about the monohybrid cross and dihybrid cross, and even we will speak about the law of inheritance. Thank you.